Thomas Boleyn and his wife Elizabeth Howard had 3 children, a son named James, a daughter named Mary, and lastly, a daughter named Anne. The Boleyns were extremely wealthy, but not so prominent enough that historians recorded the dates of the births of their children. It is widely agreed upon, however, based on correspondence recovered from the time, that Anne Boleyn might have been born around 1507. Although the family was not quite remarkable at the time, they were extremely wealthy enough to send their children away for an international education. Anne spent her youth in the Netherlands and in France. Her education was typical of the time of a woman of her social standing. She was taught an academic education of arithmetic, family genealogy, grammar, history, reading, spelling, and writing. She was also taught domestic skills such as dancing, embroidery, good manners, household management, music, needlework, and singing. And in addition to all of that, she was also taught archery, falconry, horseback riding, and hunting. Anne was summoned back from France to England in order to marry her Irish cousin James Butler in an effort to contest a disputed will due to a death in the family. But this, of course, was not to be. Mary, Anne's older sister, had also been summoned back from France to England due to some not-so-nice scandals with the French king. Sometime in February of 1520, this was the time that the Boleyn family became acquainted with King Henry VIII of England. It was first Mary who caught the king's eye, and the king swiftly made her his mistress. Attention now was on the Boleyn family. Now, Thomas Boleyn, Anne and Mary's father, was receiving attentions from the king as well as an elevated status, and Anne was made into a lady-in-waiting for Queen Catherine of Aragon. Contemporary of the time remarked that Anne was the perfect woman courtier. Her carriage was graceful and her French clothes were pleasing and stylish. She danced with ease and had a pleasant singing voice. It was also during this time that Anne fell in love with a man named Henry Percy. But this was not to be, as they could not get married without the king's consent, and Henry was betrothed to another woman. Their romance was broken off, and Anne was sent away to live at one of her family's country estates. It is unknown how long she had to stay there. In 1526, however, Henry VIII now had eyes for Anne Boleyn. Henry VIII had been married to Catherine of Aragon for 24 years, yet they only had one living child, Princess Mary. Prior to Henry VIII's ascension to the throne, England had been caught up in turmoil and bloodshed as many different houses fought for the right to the throne. This was known as the War of Roses. So because of that, Henry VIII really wanted a male heir so that there would be no fighting for the throne. For 7 years, Henry VIII pursued Anne Boleyn, but she always kept him at an arm's length away. Henry soon sought to annul his marriage to Queen Catherine of Aragon on the basis of the fact that she had been previously, very briefly, married to his deceased older brother. Henry VIII broke from the Catholic Church and founded the Church of England, granted himself an annulment, and married Anne Boleyn. Catherine of Aragon was formally stripped of her title as queen, and Anne was consequently crowned queen consort on the 1st of June, 1533. On September 7th of the same year, slightly prematurely, a baby girl was born to Anne and Henry. Of course, it was a disappointment to Henry and a heavy blow to Anne, who was at the center of a very intense diplomatic change in England's history. The king and his new queen were happy for a time, but soon Anne began to suffer from stillbirths and miscarriages. Many historians believe that it was Henry who probably had a genetic defect that caused all of his wives to suffer so severely. Henry's eye began to wander once more, and his eyes fell upon Lady Jane Seymour. Rumors began swirling once more, and Anne Boleyn was charged with adultery, incest, and treason against the king. Anne was executed on May 19th, 1536. I hope you all enjoyed my new Homemaking and Histories series. Please follow along and please leave a request down below of what historical figure I should do next for my next episode. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!